So last year we added to the portfolio 14.5 gigawatt of new capacity, and that follows a year before we did another 10. So in 2 years we increased by more than 50% our installed capacity, and today more than 50% of that is renewables.
And how many additional capacity of desalinated water did you bring last year?
In desalination we had major progress. So we added to our portfolio 400 million cubic meter per day, 400,000 cubic meter per day, sorry. But we made a lot of progress in Azerbaijan, in Senegal, and on additional projects in Saudi Arabia. So I think that 2025 will be a major addition to our portfolio, starting from the 8 million that we have today. To give you an idea, there is about 25% to 30% of the population in the 4 countries we serve today, which are Saudi Arabia, Oman, the Emirates, and Bahrain.
Let's discuss a bit your green hydrogen projects. You have projects in Saudi Arabia, in NEOM, you have projects in Uzbekistan, and you are working on some projects in countries like Egypt. Are these on track? Are you looking to explore other countries?
We believe firmly in green hydrogen and green ammonia, starting from the fact that if you look at the last 15, 20 years, emissions of CO2 in power generation went down 40%. So when we talk about climate change and the solution, it's not about power generation anymore. It's about the other sector that were stable and increasing in emissions. The only way to decarbonize them is using green hydrogen and green ammonia. We have these 2 projects, they're on track. The biggest one is, of course, a NEOM green hydrogen project, which we're developing with our products and with NEOM. That is on track to start production at the end of 2026. It's more than 50% complete already. The second project is a smaller one in Uzbekistan, but the smaller one in Uzbekistan is as big as the largest project today in Europe or in the United States. So it's big, but not as big as NEOM, which is 100 times bigger. The one in Uzbekistan will start producing actually in 2025, so we're very excited about that.
But why didn't we see the big projects yet outside Saudi Arabia?
We see a little bit of a slowdown in the market, which I find natural psychologically. So we reached a point where we can offer companies a price that they're willing to pay. And the issue is that everybody thinks about what happened in renewables, and you say, well, but in 20 years the price will be lower than today. So I do not want to commit for 20 years. But today the price is competitive. So to bridge the gap between a contract for, say, 10 years that we can get today and what we need to make the project bankable is what is slowing down a little bit the industry today. But I'm positive still, because if you think about what happened in renewables, particularly in Europe, first there were regulations that mandated the use of these, which Europe enacted already. And the second is there are potentially some support mechanism are there on the capex side, investment, or contract for differences to cover for this long-term uncertainty that you have.
Marco, let's discuss the rights issue, 7 billion riyal. What's the update?
So we're going through all the approval process, so I think in a few months that will come to the market. And it is basically used to finance the growth. We want to reach $250 billion under management. We started when I arrived at about 50, and we're now at about 100, just short of 100. So you see that it's happening, and that's why now it's the time to go to the market to get the support to do more.
What is the current number of projects under construction?
I'm impressed. I was preparing a presentation for our budget, and so I was reflecting on what we have achieved. Today we have under construction as much capacity as Aquapower did in the previous 10 years combined. We have about $30 billion under construction, which are equivalent, if you think about it, to the investment of a global oil and gas major. But we're doing it in renewables mostly.